So what I'm going to tell you is what we're trying to do, okay? How we're trying to change the way content management is done, or change the way airports have done content management. There we go. This is how it has been. Generally speaking, what has happened is we've got a bunch of video sources over here, right? So this can be CCTV, or it can be, for my purposes, it can be flight information displays. Any video source that you can imagine, the way it has been done is they've been very much siloed, right? And each silo has its own video source, its own mechanism for distributing the video, and its own display device. And heretofore, they have been dedicated, right? So we have a set of displays, set of monitors, set of viewing tools, whichever tool you want to look at, and it has been dedicated to that video source, a one-to-one, if you will, right? So I realize this is hundreds of display devices, but the mechanism for getting from the source to the device has essentially been one-to-one. So we're changing that. I'm sure I'm supposed to press one of these buttons. I pressed the button. Okay, so we're changing that. There are two components here that we need to be mindful of. One is the content management, and the other is the video distribution. And we're talking about both here. We're talking about, as you will have read or will read in the literature that Michael is proposing. I don't know if it's released. Yes? Okay. So what you will be reading is that we're looking for a turnkey solution that takes both of these elements into consideration. And the change is not that we are getting rid of any of the sources, but in fact we're taking the sources and centralizing the content management. That is to say, centralizing the scheduling and proof of play and all of those things that you need to do to manage your video content, right? And we're pumping that into a centralized system. We're also centralizing the distribution. We're making the distribution piece homogeneous. No, we're sort of making it homogeneous and heterogeneous at the same time. We're making it homogeneous in that it's one, not a bunch of siloed distribution systems. And we're making it heterogeneous in that it is going to handle all of the different sources in one solution. The end result is that the display devices are completely agnostic. The display devices are not assigned to any video source. They can receive whatever source is sent to them. Okay? Next slide. So let's say that one of those video sources is FIDS, because for me, FIDS is very important. FIDS, Flight Information Display Systems. You all have gone to the airport and looked for a display that tells you whether or not your flight is on time and what gate is taking off from, that sort of thing, right? So let's say one of those sources is FIDS. We're going to drill down into that box. Today, here's how it looks. Today, I have an application that gets data from a database, generates HTML pages, and sends them down to ClearCube blades. Blades are essentially a blade PC, right? And those blades then have video extension out to the devices. One of the key reasons we've done it this way is that we have not had the luxury of being within Ethernet distance of the displays in the past. That's changing. So as that changes, as we build the connectivity, as we build the infrastructure, which my colleague Ali is doing, as we build the infrastructure so that I have Ethernet everywhere, we can change the methodology by which we approach the video content and distribution problem. Here we have solved it by regionalizing these blades into COM rooms and then using video extension from the COM rooms out to the display device. Okay? Next slide. So the red is the driving devices and the green are the displays. You will see that this is how we have accomplished it throughout the entire Terminal D, which you're in now, sort of. And in fact, this is how we've done it across the airport. What we're going to do, what you and I are going to do, is centralize that driving piece. We're going to move all of the drivers from their disparate locations throughout the airport. In fact, we're going to centralize them. And we're going to introduce the notion of a content management, right? And what we'll do is, we're not going to eliminate anything, but we're going to add stuff. We're going to add, it's still going to have to go to a database server, but now this content management is also going to bring in CCTV. It's also going to bring in files, advertisements, right? Whatever files we may have. Content management is going to be the central traffic cop for managing those different data sources into one centralized place and distributing it out. So I anticipate, I'm not trying to solve your problem for you, but I anticipate that we'll do some kind of video over IP, right? And in my mind, I'm going to have to look at Ron when I say this. In my mind, what we will have here is Cisco distribution running out to players, and we will have Nexus software controlling the content management. That's what we're specifying. Okay? So then we'll have, I assume, players out here on a one-to-one with each display device that will allow us to dynamically allocate the displays, not only in terms of content, but also in terms of their functionality. That is to say, I may at some point want to have different information on each display, or I may want to have the entire display operate, the entire FIDS bank operate as a video wall, or some portions of the FIDS bank operate as a linear video, oops, sorry, I'm supposed to use the microphone, operate as a linear video wall, right? So our notion here is not only to cause the displays, cause there to be an abstraction between the physical displays and its content, but more importantly, strengthen, broaden the functionality that each display will have. Yeah? That's all I have to say.
In accomplishing that, Sean, you mentioned that you're going to consolidate the
Yes. Likewise. How you doing, sir? In seeing the in consolidation of the network servers, I understand that, and that was a good point. I wanted to find out, is there's the diversity built into that, so that in the absence of something happening or not happening, or is there going to be a backup on that server?
Sure. I've represented here in a model as a single device, but in fact, two disparately located devices, solutions have to be in place that operate as one. For me, the preferred solution is that they are co-production and not a hot and cold standby. That's certainly my preference. The reason I have that preference is that with co-production, I don't have to test the failover on a regular basis. The failover is tested every single day as a function of the load balancing.
And is everything primarily based on 802.11n in this instance, or could it be an 802.16 type of application?
For my purposes, I don't necessarily see wireless communication happening. I'm not adverse to it because it's just another wire I don't have to run, right?
Right.
But in my mind, these are hard wires. These are probably Cat 5, Cat 6, whatever Ali tells me they have to be. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Question in the back. Oh.
Sorry.
No. So the question is, for disparately located, what counts as disparately located? DFW, again, my colleague Ali has, way ahead of me, has thought of a terrific solution and has implemented it. We have a Tier 3 data center. Did I say that right, Tier 3? In any case, it's an awesome data center, right? that has backup power and all the things that you think of when you're talking about a data center. So that would be one site. It is in fact located at the center of the airport. The other site, I'm open to whatever Ali tells me, but off the cuff, I would say the other site would be the AOC, Airport Operations Center, which is located over by the admin building, about 5 miles apart. Both of those are easily 5 or 6 miles from any terminal. Okay. Thank you very much.